Hello children. In our previous class, we have studied the digestive system and the process of digestion in lower as well as in the higher organisms. We have done that the digestive end products are glucose, amino acids and fatty acid. These amino acid or the fatty acid, they can also be converted into glucose whenever there is requirement for the same. The ultimate respiratory substrate is glucose. Now this glucose is transported to all parts of the body, to each and every cell of the body, so that they can derive energy from this. Now energy is stored in the glucose, but this energy is not released unless and until this glucose breaks down with the help of oxygen. Though in some cases this may also break down in absence of oxygen also. So in today's class, we will study how this glucose breaks down, how this energy is released, how this oxygen is reaching to each and every cell of the body, how transport of oxygen occurs, how transport of carbon dioxide occurs. So let us start our today's class, that is respiration. So respiration, this is the process by which food, to be very precise, I should say glucose. This glucose is burned in each and every cell of our body, and oxygen is required for this process. In turn, energy is released. This complete process occurs in the mitochondria of our cells. Now, whatever energy is released during this process, this is stored by the cell in the form of a compound called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. This is the energy currency of the body. So whenever we are doing any activity, this ATP is used. It means when we are running, we are using more ATP, while when we are sitting or sleeping, then we are spending less ATP. So in that case, ATP breaks down into ADP and energy is released. So this ADP get converted into ATP when glucose breaks down. So this cycle goes on and on. Now respiration, it can be divided into two types depending on whether oxygen is present or absent. When oxygen is present, then this type of respiration is called aerobic. And when oxygen is absent, this is called anaerobic. Aerobic respiration is going to produce more energy in the cell. This type of respiration is completed in the mitochondria. And in this process, 6 carbon of glucose, we know that the formula of glucose is C6H12O6. So here the 6 carbon of glucose, they are released as 6 molecule of carbon dioxide. So this is called the complete breakdown of glucose. In addition to carbon dioxide, we know that water vapors, and that I've already told you, ATPs, they are also released in this process. In anaerobic respiration, there is no oxygen present and less amount of ATPs. Only 2 ATPs are produced in anaerobic respiration. This anaerobic respiration either occurs in our skeletal muscles, or this may occur in some fungi like yeast or in some bacteria. Whenever we are doing any heavy physical exercise, at that moment, there is shortage of oxygen in our skeletal muscles. So glucose, it get converted into a 3 carbon compound, lactic acid. This lactic acid get accumulated in our skeletal muscle, and when large amount of lactic acid get accumulated, then we get tired. This condition is called fatigue. Then we take rest, and this lactic acid is sent to liver. Liver completely breaks down this lactic acid, and then carbon dioxide is released, and then we are again fresh. In case of yeast or in case of anaerobic bacteria, this glucose is converted into a 2-carbon compound, ethanol, plus carbon dioxide is released. So this is incomplete breakdown of glucose, and this process is completed within cytoplasm only. There is no role of mitochondria in anaerobic respiration. This is just now I inform you that when there is limited supply of oxygen, as in case of a skeletal muscle, then lactic acid is formed. This slide is showing the various pathway by which glucose breakdown may occur. It depends whether the oxygen is present or oxygen is absent in case of yeast or in case of a skeletal muscle. Now, just now I told you that with the help of oxygen, this glucose is oxidized. So the next question is, from where does this oxygen comes? And carbon dioxide is produced, then where is this carbon dioxide going? It means, do we have special structure by which oxygen enter in the body and carbon dioxide goes out? We have the mechanism also, we are having the structure also. What about plants? In plants, as such, there is no special structure for respiration. Already we have done that there are minute pores known as stomata. So through stomata only, exchange of gases occur in case of plants. In case of aquatic animals like fishes, they are having structure called gills. And this type of respiration, this is called the branchial respiration. So what is branchial respiration? Exchange of gases by gills. Fishes, they are using the oxygen that is dissolved in water. They are not using the oxygen that is present in air. They are using the oxygen dissolved in water. And this oxygen is less amount as compared to air. This is the reason. The rate of breathing is fast in case of fishes. You must have seen some fishes, they again and again open their mouth and close their mouth, open their mouth, because they are inhaling, they are drinking water. Through water, oxygen is going inside. Then from this passage, it is going to the gills. In gills, exchange occur, and again carbon dioxide is released directly in the water. Now let us come to human. We are having a well-developed respiratory system. And you must be aware of different part of this respiratory system. That is nostril, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, also known as voice box, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, lungs, and diaphragm. Let me show you by means of a diagram. See, this is the nasal cavity. This nasal cavity continue into pharynx. This is the structure that we have already done in our digestive system also. Then this is leading into voice box. Pharynx is leading into voice box, larynx. Now larynx, it continue into a pipe-like structure that is called trachea or the windpipe. And you can see that there are certain lining here. These are the C-shaped cartilaginous lining which are protecting trachea. Then this trachea is divided into 2 branches. These are called bronchioles. The bronchi, these are bronchi. These bronchi, they are further divided into branches like a tree. Then these are called primary bronchiole, secondary bronchiole, tertiary bronchiole, like that. And ultimately, they end into a balloon-like structure that is called alveoli. Now, the whole structure, this is called lungs. These are lungs, they are resting on a partition that is called diaphragm. This diaphragm is dividing the body into an upper part and a lower part. The upper part is known as the thoracic cavity and the lower part is known as the abdominal cavity. Now the air enters into these nostrils. All of us know that in our nostril we are having the hairs and mucus. The function of this mucus is to trap the dust particle or possibly maybe if any microbe is there. Then through pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, this air is going into lungs. Trachea, just now I inform you that it is having cartilaginous ring. You can touch here, these are the cartilaginous ring. There are cartilaginous ring. You can touch them and feel them. The function of these cartilaginous ring is to prevent the collapsing of the trachea. The alveoli, the balloon-like structure, they are richly supplied with blood vessels. Why? Because exchange of gas occurs through these alveoli only. You know that there are millions of such alveoli in each lung. Why so many? Why so many alveoli are there? Because these are increasing the surface area. More is the surface area, more will be the exchange of gases. Whatever is the respiratory surface, it should have certain characteristic features. For example, it should be as thin as possible so that exchange diffusion can occur easily. It should be kept moist. It should be as large as possible. And it should be richly supplied with blood vessels. You can see how our lungs, they are divided into these balloon-like structure. These are known as alveoli. The other half of this picture is showing that how our lungs, they are protected with these ribs. We are having 12 pairs of ribs, and the function of these ribs is to protect our delicate organ, that is lungs and heart. So now in each lung, there are millions of such alveoli, and I have just informed you that these alveoli, they are the respiratory structure in our body, and their main function is to increase the surface area for exchange of gases. We can see how they are increasing the surface area. Now, how does this mechanism of breathing occurs in our body? Breathing is simply the exchange of gases, the process of taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. Generally, that is what we say. But actually, the process of taking in air that is rich in oxygen and giving out air that is rich in carbon dioxide. Otherwise, the air that we are inhaling is also having carbon dioxide, and the air that we are exhaling is also having oxygen. But the concentration, it varies. Now, this process of breathing or inhalation and exhalation is controlled by our muscles. The process of intake of air is inhalation, and the process of giving out air is called exhalation. Now you can see there is diaphragm. This is diaphragm. So when the muscle of this diaphragm contract, what would happen? This is move downward. This move downward. And our rib cage our rib cage move outward and upward. Again, I am saying diaphragm move downward, rib cage, it move outward and upward. So what happened? This chest cavity increases. Thoracic cavity increases. And we all know that whenever the volume increases, pressure decreases. So air always moves from high pressure to low pressure. So the pressure inside the thoracic cavity is less and pressure outside the body in the air is more. So air rushes in the body and the process of inhalation occurs. On the other hand, when the muscles of diaphragm relax, see here, this move upward, diaphragm move upward, and the rib cage, it move downward and inward. So now the overall volume of the thoracic cavity decreases, pressure increases. So now the pressure inside thoracic cavity is more, in outside air it is less. So what will happen now? Now the air rushes out of the lungs into the air. This is called the process of exhalation. Okay, so breathing is the process by which we intake the air that is rich in oxygen and we exhale the air that is rich in carbon dioxide.
How do human beings respire?
See, the air is rushing. What is this structure? This is nasal cavity. This is trachea. These are the C-shaped cartilaginous rings. These are the rings which are protecting the trachea. Now this air is going in the lungs. Can you see how this is dividing into bronchioles? These bronchioles, they are ending in the sac-like structure. These sac-like structure are alveoli. You can see the blood supply around each and every alveoli. These red color blood vessels are carrying the oxygenated blood, and this blue one, these are carrying the deoxygenated blood. This is diaphragm, very much clear. These are the ribs. And this whole structure is thoracic cavity. RBC, alveoli. See how this oxygen is transported in our blood cells. In our RBC, there is hemoglobin. This hemoglobin, it binds with the oxygen and it releases the carbon dioxide here. Okay, this is the arterial blood. This is the venous blood. Now see, this is such a huge structure. It is having trillions and trillions of cells. In each and every cell is not in contact with the surrounding. So the process of diffusion is not sufficient in complex multicellular organism. That is why they are having a transport mechanism, a blood supply that carry oxygen from the lungs to all part of the body and carbon dioxide from all cells to lungs. So these are the RBCs. Now see, from the tissue, this is tissue. From the tissue, carbon dioxide is given out to the blood. So now this will carry this deoxygenated blood to the lungs. And how? This carbon dioxide combined with the water present in the blood plasma that form bicarbonate, and now carbon dioxide is transported in the form of bicarbonate ions. So is that clear? How oxygen is transported from lungs? Oxygen is transported from lungs in combination with hemoglobin, that will form oxyhemoglobin. Then it will reaches to the cell. Cell in turn will give carbon dioxide to blood. In blood there is water. This water combined with carbon dioxide and it will form bicarbonate ions. Because carbon dioxide is easily soluble in water, that is why carbon dioxide is transported in soluble form. Oxygen is not easily soluble in water, so this is transported as oxyhemoglobin. When this carbon dioxide is carried by the venous blood to the lungs, then by the process of diffusion, this carbon dioxide is released into the air. In this process, in this way, this process of inhalation and exhalation continues. One inhalation and exhalation, it makes one breath. Do you know what is our breathing rate? The normal breathing rate is 12 breaths per minute. It means the one cycle of inhalation and exhalation is for 5 seconds. But when we are running or doing any heavy physical exercise, then this breathing rate, it increases. And in children also, this rate is faster. But when we are sleeping, resting, then this comes down. I hope this topic is clear to you. If anyone is having any doubt, you can share with me. Thank you.